Okay, last week we discussed a little bit the different kitzim, the different forecasts of end of times that Gedolei Yisrael gave, and whatever the different aspects of it, what was their permissibility to do that, what was the meaning of the fact that they gave different end times and didn't seem to materialize in this physical world. Just a few more points I want to discuss, and then also discuss the situation of the Gemara that I started last week.
Sorry,
so the Mefarshim say interesting thing you have. Rabbeinu B'chaye, and I think other Mefarshim say the same thing. They mention it by the Gulas Mitzrayim, the redemption from Mitzrayim. We find there were three calculations that we have in the Pesukim. One is 400 years. It says that Avram Avinu was told by Bris Ben Absarim that they'll serve them 400 years. Then another pasuk says that they didn't were Mitzrayim for 430 years. Which Rashi explains, it calculates from Bris Ben Absarim, whatever it might be. 400 years. 400 years from when Yitzhak was born, 430 is also you count Bris Ben Absarim. And then there was the actual 210 years that they were in Mitzrayim. So you have, by Golas Mitzrayim, there were three kitzim, there were three end times. You find also in the Nil, I forget the whole cheshon of the Pesukim, it comes that also there are the different Pesukim, there's three different calculations that end up coming. One is 1,335 years, 1,290 years, and 1,100 something. There's three kitzim that are there. So Rabbeinu B'chaye says a word that basically there was three, I don't know exactly how you want to put it, I guess three possibilities. One Yidden could have been redeemed. And the Eibush, in other words, each case had it's not that the kitzim were wrong, just the Eibush just set up, there's three different stages, and each one had its, the truth is that they're all true, because it depends how you count. Well, from when do you start counting? Let's say by Mitzrayim, you start counting from Bris Ben Absarim, 430, you start counting when Yitzhak was born, it's 400, when you start counting from when Mitzrayim was 210. But the point that he brings is that there's different times to tell you that when if you see a case that passes and it's not in the sky, doesn't mean that it wasn't true. The Eibush is so to say there are different options based on, I guess, the Zachiyas of Yidden, whatever is based on with Yidden are holding, that's when they'll be redeemed. If I remember correctly, don't quote me on this, but you have in the Gemara Masechta Megillah, the Gemara discusses a similar thing regarding the 70 years from at the end of Gol's Babel. That there's a whole thing how right we know that there's a whole story how Belshazzar made a whole party because he was sure that Yidden will remain in Golus now, because the prophecy was given in 70 years to Bavel, Yidden will return. The question was, is it 70 years in the kingdom of Bavel? Is it 70 years from the first time that Nebuchadnezzar conquered Yerushalayim with different stages? First he went and he exiled King Yechoniah, and he exiled a lot of the Sanhedrin and so on and so forth. And then there was the final time when he completely destroyed he destroyed the Beis Hamikdash, and he exiled most of the inhabitants of the land. So Belshazzar made a calculation 70 years from Bavel, from when Nebuchadnezzar became king. So his calculation was wrong. Achashverosh makes the whole party a number of years later. He says Belshazzar made a mistake, but because he counted from when Nebuchadnezzar was king, and he's counting from when, I think he counted from when the first stage of the Golus of Nebuchadnezzar's, exile of Yerushalayim was. But he also made a mistake, because the end of the 70 years was really from when the Golus happened with Pearl. So there too it says that even though it says it was a mistake, but each of those manim had each of those calculations had some potential to it.
It's interesting. The Shabbos says When it says like this, kitzay is kitzin is not, doesn't mean when it's going to pass away. Over there, occurrences that happen during life, things that happen during life. Midas Yomayim is how much it is. And then he asks, that's not Nabigal with anybody. When are you going to pass away? Says when we Shabbos. That's the one that says, no, it's kitzay is not, doesn't mean the end. We take kitzay because kitzay Yomim. That's because the kitzay Yomim comes from the Nil. So that's why we take a kitzay as being mamish the end. But kitzay, Lamdavke, that means.
So anyway, getting back to what's regarding the discussion at hand regarding Moshiach, so the point that's being made, the general point, if I'm not mistaken, is that there are different kitzim, there are different end times, even in the psukim itself. We make the calculation, even though, again, like I mentioned last week, it says that those people will try to think that they figured out the meaning of the psukim, the calculations, are going to make a mistake. But nevertheless, from the simple pshutei shel mikra, it comes out three different periods that are being said in the Nil, and each one is true. In other words, Chatchil, they should set it up with the different options when it could be. If it doesn't happen then, it happens by the next one. That's one that I wanted to mention. There's another point which really requires I didn't have a chance really to research the subject very thoroughly, but it's a really whole topic onto its own. I mean, the basic topic everyone knows about. We all know about Be'ita Nachishena, right? We all know that there's a time Mashiach comes when it's time, and then there's Achishena, that Mashiach comes and we quicken up the time. So there's a few points, just a few basic points that be relevant to understand properly this concept of Bita Nachishana. The Gemara says in Gemara Sanhedrin, the Gemara brings two verses which the pasuk says, Ani Hashem Bita Nachishana, I Hashem, in its time I will hurry it up. So the Gemara asks, which one is it? Is it going to come in its time, or is it going to be hurried up? The Gemara says, if Zachu still have merits, then it'll happen in its time. It'll happen in the rush. If they won't have merits, it'll happen in its time. The Gemara also brings other psukim. One pasuk speaks about Moshiach coming as a donkey, as a poor man riding on a donkey. Another pasuk speaks about Moshiach coming in the clouds of heaven. And there too, the Gemara says it depends if it's coming in the way of zachu, lo zachu. They'll have merits, they won't have merits. Now, very important understanding, which might be simple for all of us, but for some people it's not necessarily so simple, is what does it mean that Mashiach will come, that there's a be'ita, that there's a time, and then there's achishen, and then the time is rushed up. What's the meaning of that? So if you take it at face value, it seems as if it's saying, there's the time when Mashiach is supposed to come, which that's really the right time it's supposed to happen. Elamai is just, there's a possibility to rush it up. There's a possibility through doing tshuva ma'asim tovim to rush it up. Which, it's a valid understanding, but it's very important to understand the concept, the way it is, the way it is in essence. What does it mean, first of all, the idea that Mashiach has a time? There's a famous Gemara that says that Rabbi Shua ben Levi, he met Eliyahu, he asked him, when does Mashiach come? So he says, ask Moshiach himself. Go to the man himself. He says, where's Moshiach sitting? He says, he's sitting at the entrance to Rome. He's sitting amongst people that are, most of you probably heard this, sitting, I think, amongst people that are suffering the gates of Rome, and you tell them, to him and others, everyone else, they take off all their bandages and put them on. The Moshiach, he takes off one bandage at a time. He doesn't take off all his bandages and fix them up, put them all back at once, but he does it one wound at a time, because in case he's buzzed that it's time for him to go and redeem the Yidden, he shouldn't have to wait to put all the bandages back on time. Again, there's many mufarshim over here, what it means that it's a physical vision that Rabbi Shua ben Levi has, or a spiritual vision, but what the meaning of this is, that's not for now. So it says Eliyahu Hanavi, Rabbi Shua ben Levi goes to Moshiach, he asks him, when are you coming? He says, Hayim, I'm coming today. So Rabbi Shua ben Levi is overjoyed, the day passes and Moshiach is not here. So he tells him, he meets Yonavi again, and he's disappointed. He says, so Yonavi said, what he meant to say is, Hayoy, Mimukayli Shmol, there's a pasuk that says, today, if you will heed in his voice, he'll come today. If you listen to Hashem, there's a possibility for him to come today. If he's hoping to come today, doesn't mean he's definitely going to come today. So the Maram of Prague says a very important, he brings out a very important point over here. He says, from Moshiach's perspective, Moshiach itself is not something which he himself, his inyan, he's ready to come now. The chisaron is not in him. The chisaron is not in the inyan of Moshiach. The chisaron is that we, the Mekablim, we're not ready for him. It's dependent upon us, meaning that it's not as if some people have a understanding that Mashiach, by default, he's not meant to come until it's time. It's just, we have the possibility to make him come earlier. So in other words, their whole understanding is, there's a time of Matan Torah, there's a time of the first base time, the second base time, and then David should put many thousands of years later the coming of Mashiach. We have the ability to make it come early, but really its time is for later. It's a very flawed understanding, because according to that understanding comes out that we're not missing Mashiach, There's a set time when he's supposed to come, but it's why should you yearn for Mashiach's coming? As if it's missing, huh?
It's a Mishur.
Yeah. So the problem with this understanding is that the word be'ita, that there's a set time for Mashiach, throws people off, and they think that it means that that's really when he's supposed to come. Doesn't mean that's really when he's supposed to come. What it means is Mashiach be'etzem is supposed to come immediately. Elamai. The problem is we're not ready for him. So the way David should set it up is that Be'ita means there's an end time. That by hook or by crook he has to come by then. Not that Be'ita means that this is L'chatchila. L'chatchila, the time for Mashiach is at this point. Face, who knows how, close to the end of the 6,000 years, whatever is now 5779.
How much closer is that to be?
Huh?
How much closer is
right,
that?
But I'm saying, in other words, I'm talking about the Gabi, the man of the Mishnah, the Gemara,
and that's called Be'ita.
Huh?
That's...
So the meaning of Be'ita in its time means, in other words, it's important to understand, the Be'ita, there's much more over here. There's a cheshbon, why that's its time. There's a certain amount of time the world needs to be refined. We could rush up the process. Now, in other words, it doesn't mean that Mashiach by default is something. He'll come at a set time. What time is dinner? Dinner is 7 o'clock. No, Mashiach is missing now. Mashiach is supposed to come now. We should try to rush. Maybe she wants him to come as soon as possible. Elamai, if for whatever reason he doesn't come at that time, there's a beta, there's a time when it has to happen. But not that. Whatever. That's
the Maral Meprak.
Maral Meprak doesn't say the word of Bita Rachishan. He says the word negated to the idea of Hayoyim. He says, why did Mashiach tell him today? Why didn't Mashiach make a Tanai Hayoyim? I don't know if he asked this question. In other words, his word is, why is Mashiach telling him today? It didn't happen then. Because Mashiach is trying to say that mitzidi, from my side, I'm ready to come today. When you're asking me, when am I coming? I'm telling you I'm coming to you today. You have to make sure you're ready for me. But from my side, I'm coming today. In other words, the din of Mashiach is not a davar atoli bizman. It's not something that depends on the time. That, like Matan Torah, the Eibush set it up. It was a cheshbon that Matan Torah had to happen at a certain time. I don't know if it was shaykh to happen earlier even. So, that's one. That's just, again, there's a lot more to understand and to contemplate, but I just think it's a very important thing because people have, because of this flawed understanding, there's another, a further flawed misconception, which is that there's no rush for Mashiach to come. There's a set time when he'll come, that's when he'll come. If we really work hard, he'll come earlier, but the whole understanding of what Mashiach is
we're successful till now,
huh?
we're successful further than us.
Yeah. The whole understanding of that whole understanding basically means that Sebretnish does Mashiach so coming, there's no rush he should come. But if you look in Yeshayim, they're clearly right. The Be'ita is the end time, that he has to come by that. That's the latest, But not that that's the optimal, that's the real fine. Now, in the idea of Be'ita Nachishen itself, is something which there's a lot that's discussed, and there's nothing clear in this. Just like the time of Mashiach's arrival from the Pesukim is not clear, so also the meaning of Be'ita Nachishen is also not. Let me explain to you why. The simple meaning of the pasuk means Ani Hashem Be'ita Achishena. In its time, I will rush it up. So the Gemara Taka explains that the two parts of the Pesukim, the word Be'ita means in its time means if they're not Lo Yizachot, they didn't merit. And Achishana means that they did merit. It'll come quicker if they do merit. The simple meaning of the pasuk still, however, reads Bita Achishana. In this time, I will rush it up. So there is a concept that's discussed by Gedolei Yisrael, going into the Chafetz Chaim even, and others, I think, Yitzhak Rebbe also goes on these lines. He explains Bita Achishana means that the Eibusher could rush up the Be'ita itself. Which means that when we say there's a set time but when Moshiach has to come, that also is not necessarily to be understood as we take it on face value. That there's an end time, that it means, the end time means whatever, 5779. That end time itself, according to some opinions, is subject to change. Sai l'tzad habilti toiv. There's such opinions that say that the beat itself could be pushed off a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, the Ramban says that in Sefer HaGeula. He holds that the Be'ita could, that if the Yidden, now the Be'ita is, the Yidden are nicht dahin, but if the Yidden mamish do a lot of Abed, of course Mashiach has to come at some point, but in other words, that the concept of Be'ita is not engraved in stone, the way we're understanding Be'ita. On the other hand, there's a concept of Be'ita Achishana, that we're rushing up the Be'ita itself. So, what this means again is needs a lot of the Mitzvah Rebbe has a whole long line in the beginning of the volume, the famous man about Tatzar Esmei, 120 pages or whatever. That he spoke. I think he said it Rabbi Akiva Eiger, at least part of it, and there he discusses a lot the Itanach Yishana, what it means, and he goes through the whole thing. See, there's a whole Ma'amer Chazal, even the Tshuva, they're deserving to be ready or not. He goes through that there's in other words, he goes through, he changes his mind a lot also during the whole mind. Those different explanations. I mean, the discussion is the word that in Bita Chishana that there's, Eibush, so to say, could, simply the way you learn is that Achishana means that there's the avodah, if you didn't do the avodah, the Eibush makes it come quicker. Then there's, that if Bita means that, if the thing works, slowly according to our pace, then he comes at a certain point. That also explains could be rushed up. Maybe she could make Yidden mo'ir them to do their avoid in an earlier state. Whatever it is, it's very unclear to have a final understanding of the whole matter from that mind. But I'm saying, Bita Achishana also, I'm just saying, that concept itself is also unclear at the end of the day. Because there's various Sefanim moving in. But what's the point? What's the point of all the point that I'm trying to bring out is that people think, Bita means there's a set time when he'll come. So, that's not true. The set time also depends on us. If we do our avodah properly, that set time comes quicker. So whatever. Just saying, I just want to point it out because I people that don't know Chassidus are not familiar with the Rebbe Sichos, they have this flawed misconception. And getting back to the Gemara at hand, so the point of the end times that there are means that there's certain possibilities, or someone puts it as a sefer came out. There was, the one that wrote in the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch was a sefer Meskeres HaShulchan. He wrote many svarim. He wrote also a sefer. I think he wrote a sefer Keitz HaPlois. Keitz HaPlois is a sefer. I think it was printed for top, the year Tafresh Samach Vav.
It was after the kids.
Of course it was after the kids.
So how long ago we're talking? We're talking 150 years ago?
Before the First World War. Not so long ago.
Not so long ago. Well, how long is the kids? The kids is it?
Yeah. So he wrote many svarim. He has a lot of interesting svarim. So he wrote a sefer Keitz HaPlois. The year Tafresh Samach Vav. There were a number of years that those who are familiar with the people that got excited about different kids and different end times was the year Tafresh, for example, was the year that a lot of people, the whole world was excited and Moshiach would be coming then. The year Tafresh Mem, Tafresh Samach. Tafresh Samach Vav, there's a whole Zoyar, from the Zoyar is ganz fine mashma that Moshiach Samach Vav is the case. The Rebbe says himself, that the Rebbe Rashab said, his Hemshech Samach Vav, which was a revelation of the deep knowing of Chassidus, because he connected it with the fact that year was his man that was forecast the time for Mashiach to come. So he writes here in the Sefer, case of Floyd, the way he categorizes it, he writes there's three different times for Mashiach to come. There's Be'ita Achishena, in other words, there's the end time by which he has to come no matter what. Then there's the Achishena, there's rushing up his arrival, which, also technically has no time. Mashiach could come, if Yidden would have, Ilu Zachino could have come, by Tzias Mitzrayim or whatever. And then he says what he calls it Achishana de Pkudes. Then there's a middle time, a middle type of category, which is it's not the final time, but it's opportunities. It's times that are more of an Esras of Mashiach to come. And then the Yidden don't, even the way he puts it is Yidden don't have to do such a major since the time itself contains us at a very strong opportunity for Mashiach. So as long as Yidden do the avodah somewhat, in other words, they don't need to do such a major tshuva as let's say would be needed to make a real Achishena. Because this time in a year, it's enough that the Yidden they're adding Teiramais, they just try to use out the Zman Segula, the opportunity that there is, and that will. So he discusses this. So basically, he gives it's a very interesting definition. He explains there's the end time, and then there's opportune times. He says. Now, different years, I don't want to go through all this stuff because all these kitzim are, whatever, there's, a lot of hype and disappointment that came along with each one of them. And, but he says that at that time, it doesn't mean Mashiach has to come then, but it's opportunities, and because it's an opportune time, it's not demanded from Yidden such an intense avodah to rush up Mashiach as it would be demanded on another occasion. Fine, anyway, I just want to continue a little bit now with this Gemara that we started last week. So the Gemara says that in the Chasher Kitzim, those that the Gemara discusses the possible case of those people that forecasted some type of end of times, the Gemara says very negative things about them. Why? Because they caused people to lose their faith in Mashiach. The time came, Mashiach didn't come. They said if he's not coming now, he's never coming. So it says don't set a time for Mashiach to come. Then he says, then the Gemara says if he prolongs, waits for him. Then it says, you might think that we're waiting, but Hashem is not waiting for Mashiach. So he brings a pasuk that Abishah also waits for Mashiach. Truth is that pasuk means a little bit the opposite. Well, the Gemara is interpreting it in the positive. Abishah waits the coming of Mashiach. What means Abishah waits the coming of Mashiach? But Rashi says a very powerful words. Rashi says, Hashem himself desires. The word mechak, anticipate Mashiach, would mean to long, to yearn. But here he says, Abishah, in other words, Abishah, he knows when Mashiach is coming. You could say, technically, you might say, you could argue with Abishah, could say he doesn't know, because it's totally enough. Everything is totally enough. Everything is dependent on Abishah besides, fear of heaven. But he says, Abishah desires for Mashiach to come. He says, he says, since we want him to come, Abishah wants him to come, so what's stopping him from coming? He says, Midas Hadin Ma'keves. Says the attribute of judgment is blocking, because the attribute of judgment claims we're not deserving of it yet. So he says, if the attribute of judgment is waiting, is blocking, why are we waiting? He says, in order to receive reward. He says, lucky is all those that wait for him. So first of all, the Maram Mitzvah says an interesting thing. He says over here, what's Pshat? We're waiting to. First of all, he explains, we learned that Abba Sichas, it's not a big Kiddush, but he says that for the Eibishter also, he's waiting for Mashiach to come, because for him, the whole world, as long as the Yidden are not in their place, the whole world is really, the purpose of creation is for the Yidden. We're in Galus, the whole world is not fulfilling the Shleimus. The Eibishter's whole world is, it's a flogging. So the Eibishter waits Mashiach's coming. But he says, all those that gave Kitzin, he says an interesting thing, which is very different, a little bit different than what I was discussing in Timah. He says, all those that gave Kitzin, the end of time, we're all taking into consideration end of times that would come at a period of grace. But when there's a Midas Hadin, when the attribute of judgment is saying that the Jewish people are not deserving, so all these calculations won't work, because there's a Midas Hadin that's, in other words, for these Kitzin to work, there has to be some type of grace. Because if so, what are we waiting for? So he says, L'kabel schar. The way he and other people explain is that even though midas hadin ma'akev, even though the midas hadin block, sof kol sof, the Eibusher could overrule the midas hadin. So we're still waiting that for that grace, the Eibusher will come. That, in other words, we're not waiting. He said the point is very important. It's negates what I said before. We're not waiting for the final end of days when Moshiach has to come by hook or by crook. We're waiting for him to come earlier. The midas hadin is ma'akev, the midas hadin is blocking, but the Eibusher could overrule that. Just one point I want to finish off with is the number of people say this word. What does it mean we're waiting to receive rewards? Like saying, you know what? You're not going to get what you want, but you'll get it aside, we'll get some bonus. What does it help us? So, a number of people explain, Kabul Schar means this itself, that we wait for Mashiach, that itself sweetens the Midas Hadin. So the schar that we get, the reward that we're getting is the coming of Mashiach. It's this, in other words, when the Yid knows, a very powerful word, when the Yid knows that the Midas Hadin is ma'akev, nevertheless he's expecting, he's waiting for Mashiach, that itself sweetens the judgment and brings Mashiach. And there's one other word, Api Chassidus, is, it's a shmak of word, whoever said it, but it's interesting, a few people have said it actually. The word is like this, he says, when you're thinking about Mashiach, you're desiring Mashiach, the reward is that in your personal life you experience Mashiach. What does it mean you await to receive reward? That because you're awaiting, so like the Baal Shem Tov says, wherever your thoughts are, that's where you are. If you're desiring for Mashiach, you're living Mashiach. So the reward is that in your personal life you could already feel and experience to some degree a taste of the redemption. So that's what the Gemara is saying. Even if you don't have the Gula B'Koil right now, but the fact that you're waiting for it gives you reward. What means reward? One explanation is that itself rushes up Mashiach. Another thing is that in your personal avodah you have a certain reward that you could experience Gula in your personal life because you're dissipating Mashiach. You should have the Gula B'Koil, take it from the Mamish.